Good afternoon. I'm John Sauter, a member of the great class of 1963 and chair of your Knox College Alumni Council. And I'm glad to be here because last year I could not be here. I was recovering from my 4th surgery in 2 years. But by God, I'm here today. I feel wonderful. But we're not here about that. We're here about the founders of this great college. And in particular, I want to mention the Reverend George Washington Gale. And when he founded this college, he had the courage and the wisdom and the foresight. Founded on 3 great fundamental principles. 1, slavery should be abolished. And he stuck with that. When he was here as president of the college, he broke federal law by harboring a fugitive slave in his own home. So, a great fundamental principle. Number 1. Number 2, the Reverend George Washington Gale argued women, Teresa, of all things, should be educated in college even. And what a great principle. And principle number 3 was, I think, very powerful also. Principle number 3 was, everyone should go to college regardless of their income or wealth. And Knox has remained committed to that and honored that to this day. And I'm thankful for the Reverend George Washington Gale, again, for his courage, wisdom, and foresight. And we thank him, and we owe this day to him. And thank you, Reverend Gale.
Thank you, John. What do you want me to do? Move to this one? Yes. Okay. So that one is inoperative. Okay. Sorry about that. I think I have to follow up on an ad lib here, which is that actually the founders had in mind the principle that women would be educated in a separate academy with a different curriculum, more suited to the domestic sphere to which they were to be confined. It actually took a quibble, right? It actually took a little while longer, and interestingly, some student activism to bring the college to full recognition of the need to educate women more fully. And I believe that I wouldn't say demise, but a president was forced to step down as part of that student activism. So I just want to mention that as some precedents that we either do or do not want to follow. That said, I want to welcome you all to this celebratory event. All Knox College alumni are outstanding, but some are even more outstanding than others. And this is, of course, an event at which we honor outstanding alumni whose achievements embody the college's highest aspirations. Now, for those of us on campus, this really is an opportunity to bask in reflected glory. Particularly nice when it's 4 degrees below zero, to bask in the warmth of that reflected glory. The people that are honored today have lived lives of enormous achievement, which reflect back on the campus in very important ways. Most important of all is the achievements of our alumni reflect back on our faculty, who challenged and encouraged these people and laid foundations that to this day are evident in the work that they have done and the honors that they have achieved. There's also reflected glory back to families who supported and nurtured the people we honor today, and on their Knox friends and classmates, who are a very important part of their Knox experience, may have sometimes distracted or diverted them from achievement, but more often than not supported them in becoming the people whose achievements we honor today. So by these achievements that we honor, the people we honor today have brought accolades to Knox College. And on behalf of the college, I thank all of you who are honored today, including the father of one with us today, and I want to tell an interesting little story. When I was just named to be the president of Knox College and I was in upstate New York, I received an email from a person I didn't know who said, "How interesting, you're going to be the president of Knox College, because I am in the Rotary Club here in upstate New York, and there is a very proud Knox alum in my Rotary Club, and you should meet him." And so I did. I called these people up and I met two Knox alums as it happened. One was the person we're honoring today, and also his wife, who was a Knox alum. So actually, before I ever came to Knox and stood in front of you at any Alumni Achievement ceremony, among the very first Knox alumni I met were the parents of the person who is here today to accept an award on behalf of his father. So such is the reflected glory of Knox College that it reached me in upstate New York before I was even president of this place. So thank you all.
Probably need to move that. On behalf of the current students of Knox College, I, Robert Troski, of the class of 2015, would like to extend my heartfelt congratulations to this year's winners of the Alumni Achievement Award, and welcome you back to campus today on this very, very chilly week to receive this award. The power of a Knox education is never more apparent than the success of those who come before us. And speaking as a current student who is floundering the job market, or as for many other students who are floundering in the grad school search, it is truly inspiring to see the success that you have accomplished based on the same building blocks that we are now gathering today. The world outside the Knox bubble is becoming increasingly more complicated, and in the face of the digital age, who we are and what we belong to is something that is becoming harder to understand. There is power in the unity that we all share as members of the Knox community, a sense of camaraderie and understanding that bridges gender, nationality, and age. The alumni of Knox College represent dozens of past generations of students, passing the torch and lighting the way for our future. And the three alumni we're honoring here today have proven to have gone above and beyond the call of excellence that we expect from ourselves here at Knox. Please enjoy the award ceremony. Thank you.
Good evening. James Doyle grew up in Galesburg, Illinois. He started his college career at Knox, and then he left to go fight in the U.S. Army's 84th Rail Splitters Infantry Division. As a lieutenant, he fought in the Battle of the Siegfried Line, was wounded twice, received the Bronze for his service. Jim returned to Knox to finish his degree in 1946. He then went on to earn an MBA from the Kellogg School at Northwestern University. Jim's career ran the gamut from general management to management consulting and education. He started his business career with Armour & Company. It was here that he helped coin the slogan, round-the-clock protection. This was for Dial deodorant soap as part of its initial launch. Dial rolled out nationally in 1949 and in time became the leading deodorant soap brand in the United States. Jim was the first non-family president of Watkins Products, Inc., was also president of Sarah Coventry International, a principal in A.T. Kearney International, a management consulting firm, and co-founder and director of R.A. Schoenberger and Associates Limited. After retiring, Jim taught at St. John Fisher College in Rochester, New York, and most recently at the Simon Graduate School of Business at the University of Rochester, which is in Rochester, New York. Executive Professor of Business Administration, he lectured in subjects including general management and entrepreneurship. During his time at the Simon School, Jim oversaw the Kaufman Entrepreneurial Internship Program, which matched second-year MBA students with local startup and entrepreneurial contacts or companies. In addition to the Simon School, he taught at Alfred University, Richmond College in London, and the Kensington, England campus of Huron University. After his second retirement in 2008, at the age of 86, the Simon School honored him by endowing an entrepreneurship professorship in his name. According to Dean Mark Zupan, quote, Jim Doyle helped to build the Simon School entrepreneurship concentration into one of our most popular areas of study. Many Simon alumni who were mentored and taught by Jim have gone on to start and run successful businesses. This professorship honors his commitment to entrepreneurial education at Simon and will allow us to dedicate a full professor to the teaching of this ever-important discipline, end quote. Jim's ties to Knox College run very deep. The Doyle legacy includes his wife, Alice Doric Doyle, his mother, his sister, his son, Jim Doyle, who graduated in 1970. Jim's here this evening to accept the award on his father's behalf. It's absolutely an honor to present the 2015 Alumni Achievement Award to James N. Doyle for his achievements in business.
Thank you so much, John, and I thank all of you that had a hand in this honor that you're bestowing on my father. He certainly wishes that he could be here tonight. No, that's not true. He doesn't wish he's here tonight in this very cold weather, but he asked me to come up out of Naples, Florida, out of my warm weather, to stand here. And as was mentioned, I'm a graduate, 1970. I should have headed off to the Vietnam War, but I had injured myself on the football field here and didn't have a chance to serve. But if you think back to what John just said about my father, he was a servant. He was a servant at school. He served very actively on student body activities and sports activities. He served our country. He was an outstanding husband, father, businessman, teacher. And I think if I were to look back, and ask him what were the highlights of your life, it was the birth of his kids. Well, of course, his marriage, but birth of his kids. But I think it was the last 20 years that he taught. My dad loved education. And for him, it was an opportunity to give back to young people or to older people. Because many of the students in his class were professors. They came because they had business ideas and they wanted to understand how they could commercialize those ideas. And I got caught up in it too. I'm an entrepreneur. My brother's an entrepreneur. And I had the opportunity to go and lecture a couple times a year in my dad's classes, had a chance to meet students. Today I was given the opportunity to sit with some of John's students, and I love it. Education is so important today to help us differentiate ourselves as products going forward into the world. But it's also very important that we learn to give back. I had an opportunity to present at the University of Rochester a couple months ago, standing in front of MBAs who are hungry to head to Wall Street and make the big bucks. And I said, I know where you're coming from. I've been there. But there's no more satisfying thing than to give back. It's not about what you get, it's what you can give back. And you don't have to wait till you're close to retirement or till you've made the big money. You can start to give back now on a smaller basis. So, my father was a very good person. He's still alive at age 93. His mother, who graduated from here, I don't know what class that was, back when women were strapped to this, whatever. It's funny, Tracy, it's really funny you tell that story about my parents, because when they called, they said, oh, you have no idea, we just met the next president of Knox. And I hadn't gotten the word yet, because I kind of fell off the mailing list. And they said, it's a woman. I said, what? I said, no, you have to meet her. She's really a ball of fire. So, anyway, thank you so much once again for honoring my father in this way and for allowing me to accept it on his behalf.
Each year, the Alumni Achievement Awards give faculty a confirmation that the liberal arts is vital and that the students that we turn out have those transferable skills, an uncanny sense of adapting and changing and combining. And in addition, today I'm really honored to introduce a man to you who can answer the question, what to do with the philosophy. And about 6 o'clock, I'll finish. No. Bryan Quinn graduated from Knox in 2000 and went on to serve in the Peace Corps as an agroforestry volunteer in Malawi. And that is not an island in the Hawaiian archipelago. For 2 or 3 years, for the 2 years he spent there, he lived in an agrarian community on the edge of a disappearing forest. His work involved the creation and development of the Kimilero Forest Co-Management Project, the promotion of agroforestry practices in surrounding villages, and the development of 5 acres of permaculture and demonstration gardens. Bryan raised the funds and oversaw the construction of the Kauai Primary School. Long may it endure. After leaving the Peace Corps, he wanted another culture shock, so he entered graduate school and earned a master's degree in landscape architecture from the Rhode Island School of Design, where he was the 2-time winner of the Athena Award for Excellence. Bryan went on to work as an environmental consultant, but found that his vision, a vision rooted in environmental ethics, required a more entrepreneurial approach. In 2005, he founded One Nature, a design-build company that provides internationally recognized design, planning, and scientific consulting services. There, he has become a leader in the new and exciting trend that creates green solutions to landscape problems. Many of his company's projects involve remaking the Brooklyn streetscape into a refreshing park-like atmosphere, including the development of a master plan for the urban estuary, creating public parks, restoring a stream front using native plants, and reclaiming local landscapes that were contaminated. In addition to the time he devotes to One Nature, Bryan is an adjunct teacher in the Rhode Island School of Design, the New School of Social Engagement, and the Pratt Institute. He serves as vice chairman of the board of the Gowanus Canal Conservancy. Bryan has returned to Knox in the past as a guest speaker in my environmental ethics class, and it was always exciting. His approach and his success in merging landscape design and ecology in practical ways and an exceedingly lovely application is stunning and award-winning. Bryan, you are the millennial Knoxite from the class with the double zeros following their names. But the noughts are merely signs of future possibility. It's a high honor to give you this certificate.
Thank you very much, Lance. It's an honor to be selected to be here with you today. So many of my important memories and experiences are rooted in this place, Knox. Classmates, Knox faculty and staff, and of course the great ideas integral to a Knox liberal arts education. I feel lucky to be affiliated with this place and the people who make it so special, and I do mean that. Thank you, Lance, for nominating me for this award. You were a supporter of mine as a student and now again as an alumni, and it means very much to me. I remember one memory I have, I remember when you stopped our Greek philosophy class to ask another student what the meaning of life was. She was taken aback, of course, and the class kind of let out a nervous laugh, but Lance said quite seriously, "I'm not joking." And that made a real impression on me. Of course, you didn't know the answer yourself. And I'm betting you don't know it now. Let me know if you do. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't take the question seriously. That made a real impression on me, as many of your classes did. And it makes me happy to know that you're still impacting student lives today, and since then, until December. I also want to thank, Stuart here? Stuart Allison? I want to thank Stuart Allison also, who I think nominated me for a Young Alumni Achievement Award recently, but I didn't qualify because I was too old. That wasn't the best news for me, but of course it was worse for Stu. Seriously, I'd like to tell you that as a student, I fell in love with the landscape of Green Oaks, and you can imagine how serious a statement that is considering my training as a landscape architect. Since then, Stu and others have kept Green Oaks not just alive, but thriving, and I thank him for that. From Paul Shepard to Pete Schramm to Stu today, I hope you all know just how wonderful of a tradition Knox keeps in restoration ecology. That land has been a foundation for me and countless other Knox graduates. Finally, I want you all to know that I appreciate your support as an institution. As a student and now as an alumni, I said before I feel lucky to be a Knox graduate. I can't imagine a better place to be educated or a better basic foundation for work I've received here through my education since my days as a student. So thank you very much.
You know, Lance and I have taught together for a lot of years and made presentations. And I've noticed that when Lance kind of pauses and you can tell that he's going to go off text and ad-lib, there's kind of an expected smile that comes on the faces of everybody in the room. When I pause to go off text, I've noticed that Carol and Teresa kind of put one hand on their forehead and the other tightly gripping the arm of their chair. So I'm going to confine myself and save them some distress. I did want to say at the outset, though, that given a number over the years of these award presentations, but it's really special. Bryan was also a student frequently in my classes, and we shared a lot of concerns. So to have two people here tonight that I knew well as students actually chokes me up. Indira Somani graduated from Knox in 1992 with an independent major in media, race, and gender. She went on to earn a master's degree in journalism from the Medill School of Journalism at Northwestern University, and a PhD from the Philip Merrill College of Journalism, University of Maryland, College Park. Indira had a long and successful career as a television news producer before joining academia. She worked for 10 years at regional stations in the Midwest before moving to the East Coast, where she worked at WJLA-TV, the ABC affiliate in Washington, D.C., and CNBC. She has also been a leader of the South Asian Journalists Association, where she received multiple awards for her coverage of South Asians in North America. In her academic career, Indira has taught at Washington and Lee University and American University School of Communication, and is now an assistant professor in the Department of Media, Journalism and Film at Howard University. She studies the effects of satellite television on the Indian diaspora, specifically the generations of Asian Indians who migrated to the United States between 1960 and 1972 and their media habits. Her work has been published in the International Communication Research Journal, Journal of International and Intercultural Communication, and the Asian Journal of Communication. For the fall of 2011, she was awarded a Fulbright Nehru Senior Research Fellowship to study the Western influence of Indian programming in India. Indira is also an award-winning independent producer and director of documentaries examining how Asian Indians maintain and preserve their cultural identity. Her documentary, Crossing Lines, recounts her struggle to stay connected to India after the loss of her father. The film has won numerous awards, including a Gracie Allen Award for Outstanding Documentary from in radio and television. Crossing Lines has been screened at both national and international film festivals, broadcast on PBS, and distributed to more than 100 university libraries in the U.S. through New Day Films. Since the documentary has become part of the curriculum in college courses as a tool to teach about intercultural communication, India, Hinduism, bicultural upbringing in the U.S., and father-daughter relationships, and more. One of the things that I remember about Indira and her work here, I think, is reflected in her creation of an independent major. She was so persevering. She looked for appropriate niches for her very special talents, and if she didn't find those niches ready-made, she found a way to make connections and create new ones. So it is a very great honor for me to present the 2015 Alumni Achievement Award to Indira Somani for her achievements in journalism.
I am truly humbled and honored to accept this award from one of my advisors who worked closely with me on achieving my goals at Knox. Thank you, Professor Metz, for nominating me, and congratulations to my fellow award recipients. Knox gave me a chance to get personalized attention from my professors, but more importantly, my Knox professors took the time to get to know me. It was invaluable for me to meet them during office hours, and as a result, I have taken great pride in meeting my own students during office hours, taking the time to review scripts word for word so stories make sense on air. I must have changed majors 3 or 4 times when I was at Knox, but somehow I found myself reconnecting to the English department. I am particularly grateful to Professor Metz for introducing me to scholars like Bharati Mukherjee, an Indian-born American writer who first started writing about cultural identity in her works of fiction. It was then that I felt what I wanted to write about or explore was validated. I am so grateful that my professor at Knox could guide me and nurture this interest of mine. As Professor Metz said, I had an independent major called Media, Race, and Gender. At the time, Knox did not have a journalism program, but it did have the option for students to create a major that was interdisciplinary. This option may not have been available to me at another institution, but more importantly, by crafting this major that included courses from the English writing program, African American Studies, Asian American Studies, Women's Studies, and Media Studies, Knox allowed me to develop my strengths. I took advantage of the Urban Studies program in Chicago, where I landed my first television internship. It was during that program that I realized that I wanted to pursue my master's in journalism after I graduated from Knox. After my semester in Chicago, Knox made it easy for me to return. I registered to take Intro to Women's Studies, and we were studying letters fathers had written to their daughters. I will never forget that the course packet produced by the professor, Dr. Pennygold, included a letter the former Prime Minister of India, Nehru, wrote to his daughter, Indira S. I was really touched because normally at that time, most course packets did not necessarily have that level of diversity to connect with students of all backgrounds. To be honest, I don't think I started to appreciate my Knox education until I pursued my doctorate, which began at least 10 years after my career as a television news producer. The opportunity to go back to school and earn a terminal degree was daunting, but with the foundation of a liberal arts education, I got a chance to push myself even further, to ask a question and expand my own learning. Once I built my research agenda to explore issues that involved media and ethnic communities, I feel like I came full circle from the skills I learned through my coursework at Knox to the completion of a dissertation to keeping my own students engaged and excited about the learning process. But the learning did not just take place in the classroom for me at Knox. It took place also with my extracurricular activities, like on the tennis court or with the Knox students. I am grateful to Professor David Amor, who was the advisor to the Knox student at that time. Under his leadership, we designed a new newspaper with a more modern layout, and I am thankful to be part of that editorial team that took the newspaper to an award-winning status. As a professor, I set high standards and expectations for my students, and I try to inspire them to meet these standards. That's the way I was taught here at Knox. My professors always held me to a standard of excellence. One of my richest experiences at Knox was producing a documentary on the international students and their experiences adjusting to a small liberal arts college in the Midwest called Crossing Lines, Opening Minds. I believe that experience launched my curiosity of the cross-cultural adaptation process I now study and research. I am always appreciative and touched by the professors who remember me and who continue to push my career forward. In closing, I am truly grateful for my experiences at Knox and how they have shaped who I am today. Thank you very much.
In bringing this august occasion to a close, I would like to tell a quick story story about Teresa, if I may. Oh, no. When she was newly on the Knox campus as our president, she came to join us at a Knox Alumni Council meeting. I had the opportunity to tell her that when I was a Knox student majoring in econ, most of my classes were in Alumni Hall. Then, when I joined the Knox faculty a few years later, most of my classes that I taught were in Alumni Hall. During that 6-year period I was on the faculty, my office was in the northwest corner, the first floor of Alumni Hall. You were there talking to me, I know. You were there, probably more than once. Northwest corner of Alumni Hall. And so, Teresa, I thank you for showing courage, wisdom, and foresight, and being pretty spunky also. And for all of us, Knox College is such an important part of who we are. And of course, Old Main is too. I can't think of Knox College without thinking of Old Main. But now, thankfully, we can also include Alumni Hall with this rejuvenated and greatly improved appearance and capability as a part of who we are. And I want to say once again, thank you, Teresa. Thanks for coming, everybody, to celebrate the anniversary of our great college.
Little